traded Cooper Kupp and Brock Bowers.
I think pretty much every trade I've made you, with the exception of trading you Breece Hall, has blown up spectacularly for you. And it looks fantastic for me.
Yeah, it has not gone well. But I mean, other than that crazy upset, I mean, I'm winning games. So.
Crazy upset. Nah.
I was up by 50.
God's plan.
No.
Play God's plan for the intro.
I swear.
Welcome to the house. I am Isaac Smolden. 2-0 season record against Brian Fields in fantasy football this year. Isaac Smolden. And here's Brian Fields, who was up by 50 points on Monday morning and lost thanks to the might of Joe Mixon and the Houston Texans defense.
Yeah.
Brian, when I saw that
also stupidity in the way that I have structured the scoring of our defense in our league to allow the Houston Texans to put up 30 points. So, yeah, I did that. I went a little overboard. I've got a little. This has not been my season. I'm like, from the start of the season, have been on tilt mode, and I don't think that I've ever got off a tilt. And what sucks is like I feel like a decent fantasy football player, and this year I'm like looking at myself in the mirror, like, what are you doing? I want more excitement. It's like I'm like trying to have addict behavior in fantasy football, dude. Like,
I told you this weeks ago when you were in the middle of the trades.
I need some thrill. I need some action. Like, what are you doing, bro? Trading away all my picks. Dude, I'm trading away like league-winning players. Yeah,
fantastic week of fantasy football for me. I have 3 teams that I went 3-0, including winning in the work league against Kitties of Vengeance. Shout out to Roger's team, who got blown out 156-101. Again, thank you, Joe Mixon, who's quickly becoming my favorite player on a Houston Texans team where he looks like he's the only one that shows up to play 60 minutes of football every night. So glad that's the Texan that I am.
Nico Collins had a big touchdown called back.
That is true. And he will bounce back from that. Stonks down on Tank Dell for sure, who I have in a couple of leagues. Okay, team update. The Seahawks, for the first time since 2021.
That's wild.
Find a way to beat the San Francisco 49ers. And nothing makes me happier than watching the Seahawks beat the San Francisco 49ers. I have such a love-hate relationship with Geno Smith right now, but
I think all of Washington does at this point.
But you know what? That was a gutsy win.
Did you see him do the Steph Curry night-night
time?
Yeah.
Needed that one. If this team,
it's gonna suck when they bounce you out in the playoffs.
Well, okay,
they're all gonna go up to Geno and just night every sack, night every turnover, night.
Here's the deal: the Seahawks are in a position where we're not going to get any kind of good draft pick at this point. The division is wide open, so I just want to see the team make the playoffs because I know they're not going to do anything when they get there. Them making the playoffs is better than them being mid and missing the playoffs. Like last year, your divisional games, you have a route forward where you can very easily make the playoffs if you just win these divisional games that you have ahead of you. That's going to be, you have a really tough test going into Arizona. They're coming off of a bye week at home as the hottest team in the NFC West. So I don't think you're going to have a more important game than this game. But you set yourselves up well. You beat the Niners. The defense, I don't know which defense we're going to get any given night. Are we going to get defense that played against the Falcons?
Which makes
and
it
the
really
Niners?
Frustrating for anybody going against them. Like in a fantasy football perspective, because I'm like, man, like Seattle, there's a couple times I benched players because I was like, Seattle's got a gritty defense this year.
I don't know if they do or not.
But then, it's very inconsistent. The whole team in general is just very inconsistent.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know. NHL wise, the teams I watch, the Kraken are back to 500, which is nice. The Avs are still dealing with injuries, but coming out of it and kind of returning to form. The Leafs are first in the Atlantic. Your Las Vegas Golden Knights are still at the top of the division and looking like they're going to be a contender again. Your football team, good news.
Hold on.
You
All
lost.
Right. Yeah, we lost.
Good news.
Good news. We lost. I think I seen something. So like, this is how removed I am from the season. Did
you even watch the full game?
No. What I do now is I put I never would do this on a Raider game because I'm like a diehard fan. But what I do is I have Sunday tickets, so I put the multi-view on.
Yeah.
And I just like look at it periodically as they're doing dumb stuff and really watch Red Zone. I think I seen something like I'm not even really paying attention, but I think I seen something that they're gonna move off Minshew again and go to Desmond Ridder, which I'm like, dude, whatever. I feel bad for Max Crosby, who is like just a beast of a player and like leader and a leader in the sense of like lead by example, right? Like he gives his all no matter if we're down 34 points or if the record is 2-8.
Yeah.
Right. Like he's still out there trying to produce. But yeah, there is some interesting stuff with Shedeur Sanders.
I was gonna say. So do you just watch University of Colorado?
So here's the deal. This is the interesting stuff. Is now Deion Sanders is flirting with the idea.
Oh boy.
Of like he was on a podcast with Ice Cube talking about. He was like, "What would you do?" And he was like, "What?" He was like, "Would you let your son just go to the pros, or would you go with him?" And then Ice Cube, who is a diehard Raider Nation, was like, "Yeah, man. I mean, if it was gonna be in silver and black, like I would do that." And so now there's been some flirting of Deion Sanders joining Shedeur in Las Vegas. I want Shedeur. I do not want Shedeur and Deion.
Right, you don't want this. This is a nightmare.
No.
Lose more for Shedeur is over.
Yeah.
Lose more for Shedeur is done.
Yeah.
We're done with
that. But the Raiders
but it's gonna happen now.
Yeah.
This sounds like the most Raiders thing I've ever heard of in my entire life.
You know what I want so bad is I want them to lose. I want them to get a quarterback, and I want them to hire a real coach. Bill Belichick is still out there. Vrabel is still out there. Like Ben Johnson from the Lions is. What do you mean? You think Bill's cooked? This is the hottest take of your life. You think Bill's cooked?
I don't know. You don't think he doesn't want to just stay on some Massachusetts beach with
no?
His
he's already. The reports have already come
girlfriend?
out that he plans to coach this year.
Oh boy,
so
could go one of two ways.
He's either going to come to Vegas because Brady just became an owner, or he's going to. My guess would be the Jets. Jaguars kind of meh. That's a tough team. You got to rebuild that whole thing.
Glad you became a Dodgers fan.
Yeah.
This.
We're in a state, dude.
This is not
We're
good.
almost alarm panic mode. And I'm literally like, I have been a fan since 2002, dude. And like, I am on the cusp of calling it quits.
Brian,
dude.
no.
I am so close.
I've been a Mariners fan my whole life. You can't do this.
I'm so close.
You can't do this.
I'm telling you right now, I'm close, man. Like, I got a couple more seasons in me. And if some leadership doesn't, because it's not that I don't love the Raiders. It's like the owner, Mark Davis, I don't feel like he cares about winning. I feel like he cares about PR and fancy, like, oh, let's get this fancy stadium in Vegas. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I don't know. Anyways, forget all of that. I'm not paying attention to the Raiders. Who I am paying attention to is the Los Angeles Lakers, baby. And they have won 6 straight. Dalton Kinchett.
DK.
Looking like the steal of the draft. Drafted 17 overall.
Well, since you wasted your second round pick, I'm glad that your first round is working out for you.
No doubt.
You definitely need your first rounder to work out this year.
But he went 9 for 12 from 3. 37 points. He's slashing. He's getting alley-oops.
37 is the record for a rookie, right? Or is it the Lakers record for a rookie?
It's he tied the record for most made threes.
Most made threes. Okay.
By a rookie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And I mean, he scored 20 points the game before that.
37 still seems like a
dude for a rookie
metric.
when we're this close, when we're this early into the season. What we played like 13 games.
Yeah.
And so he's looking super, just like. Because he's going to grow, right? Like, if this is the start of what you're seeing in a rookie season, you have to be over the moon excited because, I mean, barring a crazy injury, like, he should get better.
Yeah.
Right? And so I'm really excited to see. I'm not, like, sold on the Lakers making a deep playoff run.
Well, there's some hope from the young guys.
Yeah, there's some hope, which they haven't had before. And J.J. Redick somehow has unlocked Anthony Davis.
And there's some hope post-LeBron.
Post-LeBron, yeah.
Anthony Davis looks really good.
Dude, he looks like an MVP. He's averaging 30 points, 11 rebounds, 1.3 steals, and 1.8 blocks a game. Like, looking like an MVP caliber player, which we have not seen out of Anthony Davis since the championship run. And so I'm really excited for them. I hope that this isn't kind of like last year where
flash in the pan,
yeah, they flashed in the pan and then they went on this run and won the in-season cup and then it was like they took the rest of the season off.
It's still very early. I mean, we're not even like a quarter of the way through the season, but it's kind of same as hockey right now. You're seeing like the Bruins just fired Jim Montgomery, who has only been there for a very short time. There are questions about him coming out of last year's playoff run. Like teams in the NBA and the NHL are getting to the point where Thanksgiving is right around the door. And if things aren't looking good, like the Nuggets are kind of in neutral right now. Like they're off to maybe a more sluggish start than you'd expect. And you're getting to the point where you have teams like the Warriors where you're like, oh, wait, is this like for real? Like, is this
talking about hockey?
Well, no. I was talking about the Warriors in basketball. There's no Warriors in.
Okay, I was like
the NHL. I was talking about Golden State. Like early on, and you said it before the show, and we should probably spend a little more time there. But Cleveland too in the East.
Did you see? So I want the Warriors though. A funny thing, they did a tribute for Klay Thompson. There was a bunch of fans in the stands wearing captain hats for Klay, and he decided to hit a three and do a shimmy. He decided to do the Steph Curry shimmy.
Oh, no.
So Steph Curry put the lights out. And he literally said after, he said, he knows better than that. Oh, dude. That's NBA rivalry brewing. I think they'll retire and be the best of friends.
Yeah.
But I think there's going to be some pokes throughout I think if they end up playing each other in the playoffs, I think there's going to be some pokes throughout the season that make that series just like phenomenal.
The Warriors are doing way better than I think anyone gave them credit for. It's kind of the same, I think, same mentality as the Bills that we had going into the season. Like, they lost guys. They've been around for too long. Like, they might be cooked. And then they just are like, no, what if we're still good? Anthony Wiggins put up 27 last night. Like, they're getting good supplemental scoring. Like,
there's a couple surprise teams. Like, everybody knew Boston would be good, and they look really, really good.
Yeah.
And they kind of take some games off throughout the season, and that's why. But Cleveland is like a crazy. They're
16-1.
Yeah, well, they just lost to Boston, which if they can't figure out how to get over that's where the Eastern Conference goes through Boston. Like, I want to say Miami's going to be better, but they're looking a little cooked. Detroit somehow is looking better. Can they sustain that? No. I don't like the East at all. Like,
the East is
Milwaukee,
Cleveland and Boston.
Milwaukee. Figure it out. You have the Greek Freak and Damian Lillard, dude. What are you doing? 6-9?
I watched
Doc Rivers is the worst coach of all time, bro. He blames all of his players. He never takes accountability. Like, he's just like, and then he just sits back and like ruins these teams.
There was a quarter on the other day, and I was watching, and I was just, I can't remember who they were playing, but I was like, I don't know a lot about basketball, but isn't Milwaukee not supposed to be this bad?
No, they're not.
They were playing the Hornets. They lost to the
point that like somebody that should be a franchise player, there's like trade rumors at the end of the year. Like if we don't make a playoff run, the Greek is probably going to ask for, which is crazy, dude. Like
he should be there for life.
Doc Rivers was a terrible hire.
What about speaking of star players and some storylines and some controversy? What do you think about the 76ers right now?
Yeah. I don't even know.
You want to talk about that?
I don't even know what to think about that. I don't know what to say about Joel Embiid. I don't know. Like, I don't want to ever mock player injury.
Mm-hmm.
But this is getting out of hand.
I come from a hockey background.
Yeah.
And this behavior from one of the stars of the league is why it is so hard for me to invest in basketball.
Yeah.
I hate this.
So I think with the new rules, like, I think the NBA is doing a good job at trying to address this, but I think there's some players that are trying to be stubborn and like, well, I don't care about awards because I'm already established type of deal. And so I think as these generations kind of fade in and the older generations fade out, you'll see it less and less. But it doesn't set a good example. And I love a lot of NBA players use this now, but Kobe was the first one that said it. Like, if I got a busted up finger and I could tape it up and play, like, I'm gonna play. There could be a kid that is sitting up in the nosebleeds who has waited his whole life to watch me play. And what, I'm gonna sit on the bench? It's not gonna happen.
Well, I love that, but also too, like, be a leader.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be a leader.
Yeah.
That is such it. I understand that sports can be a little bit toxic with the, I'm going to get out there and play even if it means I'm kind of putting my body in jeopardy long term. But, like, at what point is enough, dude?
Yeah.
Especially when your team is 2-12.
Yeah.
I hate it.
The thing, and what is irritating though is because they play in the East, right? So like the top six, right? The Detroit is in 6th right now. Hold on, at 7 and 9. Right? So like a part of what's happening with the Sixers is like, do we really need to start playing yet?
Yeah.
Or you know what I mean? Like if they start falling like super behind, but like realistically, they're freaking 5 games back.
Those points count the same now as they do in March. Yeah. Just saying. Yeah. It's crazy that you have two teams in the top 6 that have losing records, because Miami has a losing record too.
And the East has always been like this. Like the East, I don't know what needs to happen in the East, but I don't know.
And then you look at the West, and Dallas, who has a winning record right now, is in 11th place in the West.
And that's what frustrates me about being a Laker fan, dude, is because we can look like world beaters and we can look like super phenomenal, and these teams can get hot and creep up. And like, you look at the teams, like Memphis is a gritty freaking team. There is no reason Sacramento should be 10th. There's no reason Dallas, you know what I mean? Like these teams, and like San Antonio, Wemby is like, he could make a push for an 8th spot. New Orleans has had a lot of injuries this year, and so I think I seen something. It was like 90% of their cap space was out in a game.
Yeah,
90%.
That's They are
their highest paid player that was starting.
Guys.
Yeah, was a rookie.
Yeah.
So, and like, I don't know that Houston belongs up in 4.
But they're 11-5. Like they're winning games.
They are. But like I said, so usually teams, they play really gritty the first 10 games, and they kind of take some games off. And where you really see the freaking uptick is after the All-Star break. Once the All-Star break happens, that's when you really see what teams are.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. But I mean, it's getting to the point we're getting, a quarter of the way through the season. I think you can start drawing comparisons about this is what this team is. This is what this team isn't.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. This is my first year even like, kind of casually tracking the NBA standings and like games, but at least for hockey, like that's how it works. Like, hey, we're 20 games in. Either we need to make a move right now
Yeah.
if we're not doing well, or we can be confident that like this strategy
I feel like in the
is
NBA with the new rules, and so like realistically, all you have to do is place 10th, and you have a shot at getting in the playoffs.
Which is also a little bit crazy to me, but the playing around it, I think it could be good for.
Well, they're trying to bring with 82 games. It's hard to get engagement throughout the entire season, and so like I get what they're trying to do, and it's so funny because LeBron, like the first year it came out, because the Lakers were like 8th. He's like, whoever made this rule needs to be fired. So stupid. And then the next like 2 years, the Lakers made it in the playoffs by the play-in.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Oh, one more thing about the Dalton Kid. So I was watching the press conference, and the Utah Jazz coach was like, he's sitting there and he was like, yeah, it felt like everybody in the arena knew that Dalton was going to shoot the next shot, except for like a couple people. The problem is, hold on. The problem is those couple people were on our team.
I saw where that was going.
Yeah, dude. I was like, oh my God.
That quote's up there with, I'm in favor of execution. I think we all should have been executed tonight.
It's bad.
That's a good
dude.
one. That's a good one.
But yeah, I'm really excited. I mean, at least I got basketball to look forward to.
Yeah. Football seasons.
Season.
The Chiefs lost.
Chiefs lost.
The Chiefs lost.
Justice was
Thank
served.
You, Shinar.
Thank you, Shinar, for bringing the blue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I honestly do like Buffalo, dude, because they went through some horrific years with the Tom Brady era. And
hey, don't worry. They could still make the playoffs and lose to the Chiefs.
They sure could.
Don't worry.
They sure could.
Oh, and shout out to Ozzy's Chargers, by the way. 7-3.
They look cooked.
Look at them go, dude. Look at them go.
The Bengals beat themselves. The Chargers should have lost that game.
Yeah. Well.
Missed field goals, drop passes, like.
Poor Joe Burrow.
Poor dude, he's playing the career
Is Joe Burrow the new Justin Herbert?
Oof.
He's gonna be when Jamar and T. Higgins are gone next year. I still think
Justin Herbert is gonna be the Chargers' curse and have the same career as Phillip Rivers.
We'll see, because they are on a playoff trajectory right now.
They are.
I can't wait to watch playoff.
You know how many
football
times
with
that
Ozzy.
happened with Phillip Rivers, and he put up like MVP numbers, and then they'd be like a game out, or they'd lose the big one. Or,
oh yeah. Hey, they only need like 3 more wins to probably get into a playoff spot.
That's true.
They can do this.
Yeah.
And Mike Tomlin, 1 win away from his 21st winning season in a row, or whatever it is now.
Dude, they had a big win.
Oh, yeah.
Against Baltimore.
Gosh dang it, Baltimore.
What are you doing?
I didn't even need Lamar to do good. I had Joe Mixon, so it was all good.
Shut up.
Even when we're playing against each other in fantasy, sports still bring us together.
Together.
And we will see you next week on To the House.